I just
It's
want to
that
ask
time,
you.
ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Tarheel by Dark. This episode being the tipping point, so to speak, of a number of different things that have been going on in the state so far. Fortunately, we've been unable to do the physical recording, but so far, for those of you that are following the story, it has been revealed that the prince is not the prince. He has had a doppelganger, has been sitting on the throne for some time. Those are some of the characters, and the characters that are aware of this will know who they are. That doppelganger has been subdued. Again, those of you that are aware of that through text play know that, and you know that the real prince placed one of his knights, Sir Harry Wallace, into the throne this evening to serve in his stead. As we open up the scene this evening, the prince's mansion is crawling with security, more, heavier than you've ever seen it before. And a number of the characters have already arrived. Our harpy, Mr. Ashford, is already on site, as is Mr. Wallace inside. And those of you are free to make your character entries at your leisure.
Duke Darrington will walk through.
Important note before we get this thing kicked off. Some of you will recognize a black lady walking the halls, not in the main meeting room, but walking the halls outside as you come in. And if you've seen her, you recognize her. Sorry, go ahead, PJ.
Duke Darrington walks in.
Okay.
Just whatever. He'll go up to Ashford.
I know you were cool. I mean, it's well known.
He says, you can confirm with Duke Lapitolia. He offered me a life boon.
All right, so he'll mark that down. Nice to know. Thank you for alerting me to that.
Then Duke Darrington goes and sits down in his Dukely chair.
Which, like I said, for those of you that don't remember, the council meeting room is up on the second floor. And for those of you that, once you get inside, will see that this, the room has been set up as it typically is, set up in, in that circle with a considerably more formal chair than the others at the head of that circle. Those of you that were at a certain meeting a couple of months ago got to know that chair pretty well as it went flying by you. But we return now back down to Mr. Ashford, where he is checking people in.
So basically, he'll just be, watching the new arrivals and literally having to warily kind of do a bit of scanning with mostly everyone. Elena, I assume, is either standing to his side or wherever. Holly, you may want to articulate that.
Yeah, she's just kind of behind his right shoulder, just wearing rather nice looking black dress, long sleeves but low cut, so the modesty is kind of detracted by the part of it, but she's just kind of watching everything that's happening with a slightly nervous look.
Cynthia also arrived with Elena, but basically is waiting for Walsh and the other Malkavian. Sorry.
Walsh comes in, and the first thing he does is he looks for the security chief.
The gentleman actually directs you to, for some reason, directs you to Ashford. Almost like he knows who you are or what you are.
Harry walks up to Ashford and says, Harry walks up to Ashford, still wearing his backpack, unhefts it, and hands it to him. You have potence, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you should be able to handle this.
What am I dealing with?
Harry basically says the instructions are in there in case we have any more scenarios. This is the fully perfected Tesla arc. Hand it to someone in security you trust to use it correctly to protect us all.
All right. So he's basically just kind of holding on to this right now because, comparatively to humans, he trusts himself a lot more.
Yep.
You hear a familiar voice on the wind. Noted, Mr. Walsh.
Harry smiles and basically after handing the device to Mr. Ashford, proceeds to head into the meeting room and sit down in the back.
Cynthia follows him in and basically just sits alongside.
So basically, Walsh known, Cynthia known, checked, checking by names that would, appear to him as suspicious, just acting as the eyes until otherwise notified.
Alright. It's about that time, Mr. Ashford, you catch sight of a '57 Chevy Bel Air, black in color, with the white racing stripe, with a recently repaired windshield. Approaching. As you do so, you see it pulls that parking lot that is literally right across the block. As you see Marquez and Andy exit the vehicle. Marquez exiting first, and going around to get in the door for Miss Amos. As he does so, and I forgot to mention this to you guys, but you were aware of this. As he does so, you hear a bit of a thunder roll some distance away, and those of you who were coming to the meeting, you guys have been seeing, darker clouds, hearing thunder. Those of you that traveled from some distance away have run into small showers here and there, but nothing, no full-blown torrential downpour. And they make their way across the road, and as Marquez and Andy both stop there at the Harpy.
All right. Both are known members of the court, and he'll just kind of whisper, kind of in a conspiratorial way to Marquez. The life on you, Dennington, is that confirmed with you?
Marquez nods.
All right, so he'll underline, basically verify right by it.
Josh, if you have issues, sorry, if you have issues out of game with getting these noted, let me know, and I'll change it.
Will do. Thank you.
You also see that Marquez, as he's standing there, you see he opens the trench coat that he's wearing, and you see he nods to a single silver-plated pistol that is in the pocket, and he speaks. As of you, I don't know if you want me to retrieve me to take care of that, or if you want to.
Let's see. Ashford will honestly give him a very honest look. Do you plan on discharging this in Elysium?
Oh, because that would be a wonderful idea.
Then honestly, keep a hold of it. I trust you, at least with that. It's
He nods as Andy seems to usher him in, as if Marquez doesn't particularly want to actually leave yet. But you see Andy puts her hand goes to his back as she kind of shoves him slightly on up to the main door of the building.
Not long after, Faye pulls into the parking lot in the Forgotten Midnight's car, and she gets out and approaches Ashford.
Miss Palmer, Clan Malkavian, identity verified. Anything to declare?
Not on me, but anti-infernalist rifle in the trunk of the car. If anything goes down, I'm gonna need to get that.
Okay, I'll be sure to check back there.
Uh, do you mind if I had a word with you later?
Sure. As soon as I can spare a minute, I promise you.
Thank you. And Faye goes in with everybody else and sits behind Andy Amos.
Oh yeah, as a side note, Cynthia comes rushing back and basically quickly gives Ashford a knife and then just goes running back to the Elysium.
He'll basically kind of flip it and just pocket it for the moment, because he's just glad that the Malkavian does not have a sharp object.
And she basically went back, I want that back, and then continues to go through the door.
He nods, just,
As she had ran back there, Josh, you felt a presence approach and had stopped there waiting for you two to finish your business till you see that familiar face of Hargrove, where waiting until Cynthia is through the door back into the Elysium well, he speaks as he hands a pair of keys to you. I wonder if they are real.
Considering they move pretty regularly, I'd put money on it. He'll kind of look at the keys. Alexander Hargrove, Clan Gangrel, identity confirmed. Thank you, sir. Any other things to declare?
He gives you a knowing look as he extends his hand and kind of wiggles the fingers.
Good to know. Just don't, eviscerate everyone else.
Well, if they don't give me a reason to, I'd have no doubt I won't eviscerate everyone else.
Ashford just smiles, having his patient tested twice. Understand this, smiling. You can move on through.
Very well. You also see the good old Prince Sam's progeny had stepped up there behind Hargrove, waiting to be acknowledged.
All right.
I'll go ahead and switch just because. Unless you want to handle this, Will. You know how he's playing.
No, you go for it.
Alright, cut back to this.
Seems we're getting a bit of reverb off you, Will.
Yeah, we are.
I'll take some look at that.
And bear with me while I switch pictures here.
Switching pictures and
I'll switch pictures here.
I said this is primarily for the characters that have not, they're players that are new, so we can put the character.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah.
Like I said, everyone on the council is present, but there's a few, just a few that we're calling special attention to that are making their entrance.
He'll turn to kind of face in Biltmore's direction.
Turn to kind of face in Biltmore's direction.
Cut. There we go. Okay. And he is wearing the suit picture.
There we go. Okay. And he is wearing the suit picture.
Yeah, sure. Formally wise, Jeremiah Biltmore.
Identity confirmed. And he'll just kind of, extend his hand to shake it. Just kind of usher him off.
A lot of echo off of Will. Will, I'm gonna mute you for a bit.
Lot of echo off of Will. I'm gonna mute you for a bit.
All right, copy that.
if it'll let me. Okay.
And as one last point of order, if you're carrying any weapons, at least declare them and be first hand.
Only 2, and he cracks his knuckles.
Yet again,
Oh,
just that
excuse me,
thing.
4, and he.
He'll just kind of give a bit of a knowing grin and just kind of like, all right.
Good. And he'll go over and sit at his desk and get out his paperwork and all that and start rifling through it.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't ask about weapons before, but you definitely would have heard the familiar clink of Dannington's gauntlets.
Oh yeah, I mean, I pretty much know you carry those on you 24/7. No meaning to be derogatory. Just a pattern of behavior with Bennington at this point.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, well, I mean, it's better that Dannington has the gauntlets because that means he's probably going to torpor someone instead of kill them.
Uh-huh.
Is anyone near Cynthia at this point, besides Harry?
And
Well,
that really
you would.
depends on where Cynthia is right now, doesn't it?
She's basically in the
Well,
back.
she didn't ever declare whether if she was sitting behind a specific Duke chair or not.
Oh, she's just sitting next to Harry, so.
Which means Harry would be sitting behind the prince's chair, where Wallace is seated.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, she's just kind of playing with certain things, going, they're real, right?
Am I close enough to hear Cynthia? You want me to roll for it?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm sure you're close enough to hear her.
Yeah.
The room isn't so big.
Well, Kavian's not exactly
so
quiet.
Faye kind of gives a sideways glance at Cynthia. Don't worry. I know they're real.
She looks over at Walsh. What do you think?
Oh, they're definitely real, he says with a wink. Mind you, he's saying this sort of voce, so not every, it's not intended for the entire council to hear.
But Mr. Wallace turns around. These gentlemen. Let's not.
Sorry?
She just nods.
If need be, Miss Taniqua's here. She can help with the whole talking thing.
Again, she nods.
Okay. Let
All
me
right,
know if necessary.
All right, Mr. Wallace. The council has been assembled,
All right.
including all chairs, or all chairs are maintained, and you see that there is a copy of that docket is sitting on the table there, where at the prince's chair, and also those of you PC'd Dukes, there's also a copy of the docket there as well. And for those that need it, it's on the Facebook page. A couple posts back.
All right. Harry looks around, sees that all necessary dukes and duchesses are present, picks up a gavel that's sitting just beside him and raps 3 times. Ta ta ta. This court will now come to order. The entire council of the Tarheel state is assembled. We will proceed with business, beginning with old business. First on the docket, Duke Dannington. How goes the anti-infernalist efforts?
Dannington will stand up. There is currently a mortal cult that keeps moving. Sometimes I'm able to get a member from time to time. That cult attempted to destroy a member of the Fae. I took that member under my protection and have positively increased the relations between the changeling courts and our own. In addition to this, I'm fairly certain that the rest of Duke Tyson's pack is here now. And they likely one of them was likely masquerading as Josiah, while the other members of the pack used leverage against Charlotte to make her do things to disrupt the domain. I'm unsure as to where those members are. I have verified with blood and knowledge that the one that I currently am providing shelter to is the true Samuel Josiah. There is another individual whose was the sire of the odd infernal entity that was the female that we destroyed here. That man is still at large. I've destroyed at least 4 or 5 of them since last we spoke.
Understood. Well done.
Marquez's hand, or Marquez's placard is raised into the air.
Mr. Levitolia.
I would enter a motion. Actually, let me get this right. I will enter a motion that that Duke Dannington be allowed to continue in his efforts, and that his the previously extended right of destruction over Infernalist be continued to be granted.
With exception of one person, until further investigation, that is granted. And said person is known to this court, and all dukes thereof.
So I'm confused, OC. Was that a motion to the prince or the motion to the peerage?
That was a motion to the peerage.
Oh.
Right. Which requires a second before it can go to voting.
Okay, scratch what I said. I jumped the gun, sorry. Walt did, sorry.
Actually, you see that Andy Wright stands in second for that, which then it would go to vote.
Motion has been seconded. Let's do this quickly. All in favor, say aye.
All but Day and Odom support.
Dannington abstains, as it is in reference to him.
Of course. And Biltmore will also say yay. All opposed. Back to Harry, that is.
So do Day and Odom oppose, or are they abstaining?
Dave moves to open discussion. Odom just flat out dissents.
Do we have a second to move to discussion?
Marquez's placard raises. Not as a to move the second. I just had a point, just a point of order. Why is there a needed discussion when Mr. Dannington has quite literally in some instances bent over backwards to ensure the security of this domain? Day speaks. It's simply a matter of security of Mr. Dannington himself. With him being allowed to spend this much time around infernalist activity, it is my fear that he will become subdued by it. Marquez shrugs. What the hell? Second.
Motion to discuss, seconded. Oh, at this you see Harry relaxes. Let's talk civilly. Who has issue, counterpoints, what have you?
Dave's placard goes up.
Harry points.
Well, as I've said, my major concern is that the infernalist activity that Duke Dannington is rooting out may very well be rubbing off on him. This is not to say, as he turns to you, Dannington, this is not to say that it is, and this is not a direct strike at any of your methods or any of the very obviously very useful and very effective methods that you have been using. But let's just be honest here. It's Mr. Dannington, I think we can all agree, and you have, I believe even you would agree, that we do have a monster on our hands, and how we allow that monster to proceed is of concern.
Dannington is looking for him to say he yields or something.
What?
Dannington just stares at him because he hasn't said that he's yielded.
Oh.
He hasn't yielded any time. And I will yield my time to the prince's chair.
Dannington will raise his placard.
And you'll get the nod?
It is a valid concern. Many people fall to the lure of infernalism. However, I've taken steps to be marked by one who is extremely virtuous in the Christian God. I have been marked, and I assure you that that link is likely strong enough to let her know should I slip to the dark side. And I'm sure that that individual will get the appropriate amount of allies necessary to destroy me. I do not know if this individual is powerful enough on their own, but I know that they're smart enough that when such a thing would happen, they would alert the prince and they would alert their people, and they would make sure that if I were to become an issue, I would no longer be an issue.
At this, Harry speaks up. Unless Dannington obviously wants to continue, then he'll wait.
Yes, he looks like he's going to say something else.
Okay, go ahead.
I will not deny I have mastered the understanding of demonology. It is important to what I do. I have never summoned a demon, for those of you who wish to check with your powers of Auspex. I have never signed a contract with a demon. I'm sorry, did you say something more?
It's
Oh,
an
I'm sorry.
echo.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay, my bad. I have never signed a contract with a
You,
demon. I
actually,
have never
Marquez, you
summoned.
do get as he's speaking though. You do see Marquez and Hargrove both wave their placards to be added to the list after he's done.
Okay. I have never signed a contract with a demon. I have never made a deal with a demon or an infernalist. I have, at no point have I aided with the Sabbat. I have not. I have never diablerized someone who was not an infernalist. I have only done what I think is best and most prudent for the domain. Being a demonologist, I have the abilities to seal and bind demons so that if I encounter one, I can make sure that dealing with it in a temporary fix is not what is done in the domain. That if the demon is there, I can subdue that demon and then banish him back to the dark realms so his essence may not gather here again. Again, your concern is legitimate, but I have taken steps to ensure that I will not be the monster running amok here. And then he will sit down and yield back to the prince so that he may, or the who speaks in the prince's stead, so that he may reassign.
Okay. As Dannington sits down, those on the council and those sitting behind Harry, will see he actually scratches the back of his right hand. Dannington and whoever else has a mark, you see it.
Okay.
And he looks down at it. Those of you who don't have the mark don't see anything. You just see him look down at his hands and scratching at his hands. I can confirm that Dannington does indeed have a way that an ally of ours can tell if he slips. If he does so, that ally will come down on him with fire and brimstone. He will be very carefully watched.
Just to clarify something out of character, is it
Walsh.
violation?
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, this is
Sorry,
out
go
of
ahead.
character. Yeah, this is an out of character check on etiquette. Is it violation of etiquette to stand up and quietly move to somewhere else while council is going on?
As long as you're not loud about it.
If you very quietly shuffle away, that's fine. But if you make
Okay.
a ruckus, it is against etiquette.
Okay. No, given what I need to do, I'll wait until I'm on the docket. Never mind. Just wanted to double check something.
Okay. So, but Harry does look at Dannington. Our ally will keep an eye on you. And we'll see what this goes. But he says this to the group at large. Any further issue with him continuing his work?
Well, I think that Levitoli and Hargrove had their paddles up. They wish to speak.
Ah, right. Well, yeah. Now, Hargrove.
He stands. Lords and ladies of the North Carolina districts, dukes and duchesses, and as well as acting prince. I rise this evening in alliance to Mr. Dannington, who has, on countless occasions, rose to the aid of districts outside of his own. No one in this room can deny that Mr. Dannington has went out of his way to ensure the security of not only his own domain, but mine, Mr. Levatoya's, the princedom, again on multiple occasions. And I would strongly advise when you consider this motion to keep that in mind, and I will yield my time to Mr. Levatoya. Marquez, again standing. Oh, just the same thing. I was going to just to piggyback off what the good Duke here has said. Again, he has came to the aid of multiple domains. In addition to the fact that he has also, to my knowledge, and Mr. Wallace, I don't know if you can confirm this or not, but I know with myself he has been in contact with me on multiple occasions to seek out the use of my private libraries for his research, as well as I understand he has also sought out the Prince's library for similar research, and actually has a rather extensive library of his own, if I'm correct, Mr. Dannington.
He nods.
So again, also I would also stand in support of this motion. Obviously, I made it, but there you go. And so time to you, Prince.
If I would make a note here, Mr. Dannington, our ally, as means of doing what you put forth effort to do in a slightly different manner. I would urge you to seek her out and seek her advice. She may provide said means at her discretion, so that you do not have to get your hands as dirty, shall we say.
Dannington will give a slight bow of his head.
Very good. Any more discussion?
Andy Streets. Move to close discussion and move into voting. Marquez holds up his paddle a second.
Motion seconded. Let's bring this to a vote again. All in favor of him keeping his right, say aye.
All but Odom.
Okay. And Walt can verify that yes, Biltmore does say aye. Any opposed?
Odom raises his paddle but doesn't wish to go into discussion.
Very well. One nay. This carries. You keep your right, minus the one in question, which this entire council knows. Speaking of, moving on, he in the building.
Josh, she never came to you if she's here.
And he specifically looks at Ashford. Whenever nobody speaks up, he looks at Ashford. Ashford.
Yeah, literally, he'll kind of stop and look at Saint carefully. You need to check in with me first. Sorry. Formalities.
Oh.
And
but Ashford, Harry's looking at you and asking if Caraway is in the building, if she came up to you.
Oh no, she never did. She hasn't checked in with me.
he puts his left hand over his right, and the people close to Harry could hear it. Mischief Finder. And Will, I'll let you handle that whenever.
All right.
But you know how Taniqua does, so we'll just go with it. Anyway, very well. Since she's not here to report upon the Tremere activity, and I see no announced members of said clan, we'll move on to new business. Beginning with the reports from the... Who wishes to go first?
They all look around each other until finally Marquez just shrugs. I gotta do everything around here, don't
Mr. Liptolia?
Croatan District remains as strong as ever. We are currently experiencing a marked increase in tourism dollars that we always experience at this time of the year. Though this time of this particular year, those dollars seem to be considerably larger than before. I have yet to research into why that particular increase is, because I mean, quite honestly, let's face it, any increase in money is a good increase in money. As far as no threats to the domain that I am aware of, actually I take that back. There is but one, and myself and Mr. Ashford encountered some time ago, and I believe I brought this up before about the Southern Kings car club that we've seen to have not seen lately, but I was never able to confirm if they were still around or not. So Dukes, Duchesses, keep your eyes peeled. They may show up in your districts.
Dannington raises his paddle.
Dannington?
Dannington will stand. I believe that was a Sabbat pack. I casually happened upon them and destroyed them all that were there. There could be others, but I killed everyone that was there.
Oh, it's good to know. And not her. Thank you, Miss Dannington.
No.
Yet again, Dannington. Yet again, the Duke comes to the rescue.
Instant expecto.
But that being said, that's really all I have for Croatan, and I'll yield to Mr. Dannington if he's prepared to speak.
Yes. Like I've previously said, I've destroyed some Infernalists. I know that there are some scattered now, some Mortal Infernalists, as well as some others. I have had some issue with the 7 in my area. They have since not come to harass me. I believe they're focusing their efforts other places. I have delivered the information of one of their hideouts to individuals in the state to allow them to attain glory within our sect. So we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, I can say that I have no major concerns in my domain that aren't under my own purview. We'll sit down.
Right. The rest of the domain reports, go off with relatively no problem. The only one shows up as something out of the ordinary, which is Hargroves, and we'll pick up with his explanation.
Yeah, Out of character note, Walt, Facebook.
Checking now.
The Northern District as well has had had a bit of issue with the 7, and I'm going to be honest, I believe all of us have. They here have been doing as I understand it, and as my personal counsel has brought to me, they have been holding some degree of revival, I believe is what they refer to the term as, and again, a number of my counsel was able to engage one of their own, and unfortunately was not able to subdue them, though they were able to find a bit of information, and I'm prepared to hand that information over to the council at their request upon either a future activity or an activity that had already been completed. Again, like I said, we have not had a moment to research that, as it only occurred in the last 24 hours. But as far as my domain, that is the only threat that I have present at this time. Again, personnel, finances, all remain high.
At this, Biltmore raises his placard. So whenever he's done, if he yields, then we'll pass to him.
He yields the chair. Yields the chair.
And yes. Speaking of the 7, we did have issue in Salisbury a bit back. A fire at a cat rescue. It was handled by a contingent of our kindred from all over, and repairs were made. But quite a few of them did get a look at some of their faces, so they should be able to identify a few of them. And I yield. Harry says, very good. So that was out of the. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yes, Mr. Day.
I noticed that there are a number of the non-peerage members this evening. If it would behoove the court, I would encourage to hear a report from those individuals.
Actually, on this particular matter, yes. Those who were there, those who were at the mentioned cat rescue, please stand up.
Harry Walsh stands up.
Faye stands rather timidly.
And at this, out of the shadows. Well, no, excuse me, not out of the shadows, because he's sitting there. David also stands up, and you're not sure when he moved to his desk, but it was sometime
also
before the
stands
gavel
too.
struck.
David receives a phone call from and when he looks at the cell phone number, he realizes it is Florian.
He'll hang up and text, "Get here." In other words, it's on silent. It's on silent, but he will text you, "Get here."
He texts back, I'm waiting outside the door. I'm waiting to be entered in.
Just .come .in .send.
David and Ashford would both get a text message saying that Lucas is in the building.
You get a text back. Get it here. Talk to Ashford.
Cancel that for the moment. Sorry.
Okay. Anyway,
Floyd
Harry
will
will look
intervene.
look around at the ones that are standing up. Well, who wants to start? Actually, he looks at Miss Palmer. And you see, as he looks at her, the face just instantly softens. Like, almost like a daddy talking to a kid. Faye, you want to start?
Okay, out of character, we're talking about the fire at the rescue, right? Sorry, I missed some stuff because people were reverberating. Yeah. All right. So Faye stutters for a moment and then begins. Well, we were having a bake sale to raise funds for the cat rescue, and it was after the sale was over. So other than my ghouls, it was I have three of them. Other than my ghouls, it was just us and Bobby and his retainer were there as well. And we were just kind of hanging around, shooting the breeze, and when we heard something outside, and when we looked out the window, there was the best way to describe it is a torch and pitchfork mob, and they quite literally did have torches coming towards the rescue. I, yelling Bible verses through the megaphone, and the whole 9 yards. We tried to chase them off peacefully, but they kept coming and eventually soaked the front porch of the cat rescue in kerosene. Mr. Walsh tried to chase them away with basically a giant stun gun, but it accidentally lit the cat sanctuary on fire because of the kerosene, and yeah, that's about what happened from what I remember.
Unfortunate. Mr. Walsh, can you confirm?
I did succeed in knocking a couple of them out, and I do have the memory of the leader of the mob burned into my memory, but yes, I accidentally did set the rescue on fire because the kerosene was too thick by the time I tried to release one of the giant Tesla arcs. And as for the rest of it, yes, it's all confirmed.
Has any owing of boons been declared?
Yes, I currently owe... Oh, sorry.
He looks between the two of you.
Harry says, Sorry? That was
I missed what Walt said.
Has any owing of boons been declared?
Actually, a boon that I had previously owed to Mr. Walsh was cancelled in repayment of the accidental fire starting.
Understood. Very well. Mr. Ashford, has that been taken off and noted?
It has now. And
Very good.
basically, during the not to add on to the tale or make it any more laborious or woeful, but during the fire, while you were frenzied, Miss Palmer, and chasing Mr. Walsh, I had successfully managed to get Miss Cynthia Rose out with um, Bobby, and he'll just say of Clan Malkavian because he doesn't know the man's last name. Um,
Mhm.
one of whom had been shot in the head with a sniper round, but had successfully lived. Thankfully,
Mhm.
I had managed a temporary spasm of heroism. It's past now, unfortunately.
Hmm.
Harry raises his hand.
A moment, Mr. Walsh. This
Well, you've cut off.
Mm-hmm.
what?
You
Can you say
cut
that
off.
again? You said a
Testing.
moment, Mr. Wolf. Yes. Yes. Could you repeat that again, please?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Mr. Ashford, this Bobby, do you have knowledge of him?
Yes.
At
Gentleman
least not
informed.
in me particular.
Yes, he's a member of the Kindred community. He just happens to have a rather intriguing mental state. He has a handler
Hmm.
um, that accompanies him, and his mental state is that of a young boy. I had to cover up a small breach of issue at a prior time, but he's not dangerous. Um, all I wanted to do was bring this to your attention to know that the young man is safe. He, didn't suffer any mortal harm, but he did take a sniper slug to the head, unfortunately.
Understood. Make note of him in your ledgers.
Mm-hmm.
We will need you to get what information you can from him,
Mm-hmm.
so
Understood.
that this court can know him.
Mm-hmm.
And
Faye,
have him
Faye
come.
raises
And
her hand.
wait, before that, the face changes again, and have him come see me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Miss Palmer, go ahead.
Uh, um, Mr. Walsh actually raised his hand before me. I don't mind waiting.
Oh, right, Mr. Walsh.
As an add-on to the previous report, I currently have the base locations for seven major bases of operations of the seven across the state. For any dukes who wish to have them, I will text them accordingly.
Do you have paper copies at all?
Walsh actually reaches into his back pocket and pulls a little folded wad up with 7 sheets of copies on them. Well, not 7, but a
Entire,
certain.
Okay.
yeah, the entire council's placards go up.
Yep. Harry physically says, "I have copies. I will hand them over to the council when it is appropriate. When you deem it is appropriate, I meant."
At this, Harry looks to the back, and points at a black lady standing in the very back of the room. Indicates out of the door. She steps out and comes back in, and right beside her is a somewhat attractive female. Not these appearance 5 like we've seen so much of, but um, but she steps in and comes up, and he says, "Ah, Amber, um, I have a copier right over there," and he um, points into a door that's off to the side. Would you make copies, please? She says, yes, sir. And she goes over to Mr. Walsh.
Walsh
May I?
hands over the wad. Walsh hands over the wad. Out of character, she will discover that as she goes to make photocopies, there is exactly one copy for each member of the council already in the wad.
Oh.
Yeah.
She'll flip through. There's enough here. Oh, good, 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 good. Distribute, please. And she'll pass them around to everybody. So now the whole council has the locations.
Mm-hmm. And I will.
And she even walks over with the last copy and plops it on Harry's desk, in front of Harry, in front of Wallace, and he flips through. All churches. That's what I thought. Yeah, and Guthrie just posted it.
Yeah.
So. Okay. I'll see what we can do about these.
Also, Guthrie, post that to the main Facebook page as well, not just the chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put locations of the 7, and just throw it up there. Okay. We'll talk to our allies.
Real quick,
oh,
Will,
yeah.
were any of those in my district?
Yes, I believe they were. Let me double check. Now, matter of fact, I know one was.
Okay. Well, we can roll the dice if you want to, but I'm gonna go kill everybody there.
Right. So I said, let me know when you want to do that. Looks like there's a couple of other big things that are going to take place tonight as well. So just let me know.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
Out of character, would the willpower roll count if it said in Tarheel chat?
Let's say, did you
For
need to make one? Or...
not saying what's on her mind?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and make it.
Roll it.
Okay, someone roll me 5 dice, please. Wait.
Gotcha.
6. Okay, you got it.
Don't all volunteer at once.
And you got a success.
So you're fine. You can keep your trap shut. And that works for a scene. I'll say that.
I was just gonna spend a willpower, like, out of thing, but yeah.
Yeah, it works.
Okay.
You're fine. And that'll work for the rest
As
of
a
the
side
scene. You
note,
don't have to blurt.
she's still standing, so.
Okay, yeah. He looks around. Barry looks around. Anyone else? At this, David raises his hand. Yes, Mr. Menashe. Just an important note. Wallace knows what I can do. I made efforts to drive those away that were involved in the issue. Oh, you know how I do, Harry. Like, yes, David, I do. Understood. I suppose they were fairly well routed then. Anyway, any verses spouted? What?
Sorry, I said out of character. Walsh just smiles at this.
Okay. Any verses that were spouted by them?
Harry raised his hand.
Mr. Walsh.
He literally recites every single verse the preacher said, and his response is back. They're in the other scene. My memory's a little faulty about which one specifically.
Okay. All right.
Datadetic memory, though.
Datadetic memory. Yeah. And Harry, the other Harry.
They just kind of looks over at Walsh, amazed that with everything else that happened that night, his memory is just that spot on. Like, how the fuck did you do that?
And
Yeah,
Cynthia's just
Harry
silently
nods.
smiling and nodding.
And then Harry looks over at David, and David says, "And I gave them back. Let he who is without sin first cast a stone." Ah, interesting. Very
Harry
well.
also used that line as well. That's the other thing. That out of character.
Oh, huh. Very well then. Okay. Bit of a scholar myself, so the rest of you will understand. Anyway, any other details that were left out?
Harry raises his hand one more time, again trying to be polite.
Yes.
Harry basically recites the. Harry not only recites the. Recites the final line about the preacher literally doing a finger gun motion and blowing before walking away, and recites down to the nearest detail in the hopes that somebody who has artistic ability can draw out a sketch of what the leader looks like.
When Harry starts to describe everything in painstaking detail, Dannington will take out a recorder and just record everything.
As does David.
Faye has also raised her hand and is patiently waiting.
After
Out of character. Sorry.
Harry finishes the description and sits and tries to shut up now.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so out of character, what would it be like? What would I have to roll to actually successfully draw that?
Expression.
Expressions for speaking. It'd be a craft.
Yeah,
Text craft.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on.
I would say intelligence, but you already have the description, so yeah, Dex will work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Dex?
Dex and craft.
Yes.
Let me know how many dice you need. I'll roll it for you.
Okay, give me 1 minute.
So now, Joey, if you are physically able to hear me, you've made it into the room here, and all of this has been going on while you've been sitting there waiting patiently.
Yeah.
Can somebody roll me 8 dice?
Rolling 8 dice for you? No, I got it.
I don't care who does it. It doesn't matter.
Go for it. Go for it.
Okay, the 10 got neutralized, but that's depending on assuming standard difficulty, that's 3 successes.
Cool. So by the book that says I can accurately do it, like Dannington just visses his face to look like the guy.
Harry does a little bit of a see his expression go, "Yup, that them," with just not saying anything, just.
Harry double takes, but David looks at him, cocks his head sideways, and then just nods.
Dannington will say everyone should take a picture of this face.
Ashford will conveniently take out his camera on his phone and basically just, snap that. By the way, Jess, you're muted, hon.
Harry raises his hand. Harry's about to grab his cell phone camera out when he thinks and raises his hand.
What my namesake is probably about to say is those pictures might come out fuzzy.
Harry nods.
As a side note, Mishi, 2 dice. Just
Sorry?
for hell of it.
Okay.
But David, you see David with his phone out, and he's actually touching the phone and doing something on it.
Dannington will raise his paddle. If acknowledged, he will say, "Why do they come out?"
Hooray.
Actually, that's an actual house rule that we have.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
All pictures of vampires come out fuzzy.
Oh.
Yeah.
That certainly helps with the masquerade.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh boy, does it ever.
And if you have cast no
then if I had
reflection,
known
you're just invisible.
Yeah, that's
if I-
if you want to look at it, it's rule 6.1.2
No,
on the
that's
rule
fine. That's fine. I don't really
page.
mind. I would just like to say that Dannington has massive amounts of Kindred lore and wouldn't tell people to take a picture of him. Because I know they come out.
You could, however, say remember this.
Yeah. No, that's all I was
Yeah.
going to change. I was just going to change, and Dannington says, this is an accurate representation of what the face looks like. Am I correct, Mr. Walsh?
Harry nods.
And Dannington will look around and give he'll look every Duke in the face so that they have time to remember what this face looks like.
As a side note, for an 8 and a 5, what do I get for a accurate drawing?
That would have been one success, but given the fact that Woody had fixed his face there where you can see it, that 5 will count as well. 2 successes gets you basically a police rendering of it.
Do you have any crafts?
Nope.
Okay, so that increases your difficulty.
Yeah, it would have increased your difficulty, but your having the face decreased it as well. So she ended up breaking back even, really.
So you got a semblance of it.
Okay, so Cynthia basically holds up the drawing and goes like this.
And literally, Ashford, having been burned by this individual, is literally his face is a rictus mask of anger right now.
And she kind of wants to get up and hand the picture to Harry.
Clarification out of character, which Harry?
The one sitting right in front of her currently.
The
You mean
what?
Prince? The acting Prince?
Wallace.
Wallace. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Say the last name.
Yeah,
I couldn't think of the last name. I'm
Harry's
sorry.
too confusing. All right. He'll take the picture, nod, and fold it up and put it away. Okay.
Darrington will spend a blood and heal the vicissitude and go back to his original face.
Okay. All right. So we've got the locations. We've got one of the faces. Any more details?
If we can bring one of the
So Faye first.
I'm sorry, Faye still had her hand up from the last time you asked for more details.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yeah. It's like, okay. And he looks around and he's like, okay. Faye, go ahead.
Final piece. I don't know if Bobby's retainer got out of the rescue or not. I haven't heard from him. I do know that there were supposedly 4 volunteers taken to hospital after the fire, but I only have 3 ghouls that help run the shelter. It could have been Bobby's retainer, but there's a possibility that it could have been one of the mob members as well, and I think that should be investigated.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that? I did not understand what you said.
In short, she knows of three individuals that were working for her, goal-wise, but she knows 4 were taken to a hospital. So she's saying you may want to investigate who that 4th person was.
It could have been Bobby's school, or it could have been one of the people that attacked the shelter, or it could have been somebody completely unrelated.
What's the name of the other that was there? Bobby's retainer.
Trying to rack his brain at this.
I don't think I ever got his name.
Is it a wit's perception to remember things that have passed a long time ago? No, not perception. Wit's awareness. That's it.
Out of character, if you're looking for the name, Harry just writes the name down and passes it back to Faye.
Faye looks at the note Faye looks at the note and holds it up and
it's
says,
it's a Mr. Jordan. Walt. Essentially get the name, the first name, but it's a Mr. Jordan. It's a so and so Jordan. So I'll find a first name for him, and we'll go with that. Harry looks at it, nods. Okay. I'll have people look that one up, see if he was in a hospital recently. All right. Anything else?
Ashford at this point will raise one finger. I know.
Get the nod.
I know that there has been another accomplice that was there at the blood bank burning. He was very effeminate, effete, androgynous, dark hair, dark clothes. He looked like one of these, essentially very anemic young people that pretend to be us. Anyway, that was the one with the lighter, by the way. I will remember that little fucker's face until I rip it off of him.
Mr. Ashford, etiquette.
Oh, pardon me.
It's understandable, but please.
Faye has put both hands over her mouth, trying not to laugh.
It's understandable, but please do try.
Sorry, out of character, based on Ashford's description of the effeminate one, what difficulty level do I have to set my intelligence crafts at?
You don't, because you weren't there.
No, I know, but based on his description, I was going to try to roll. I was going to try to make a sketch. Intelligence plus crafts.
I'm going to say 8.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Harry has pulled out a notebook and is quietly sketching on the side. Let's see here. Difficulty 8, 2 successes.
Again, police sketch level.
Harry Harry does a police sketch and holds it up to in Ashford's direction.
He'll just kind of give a bit of a nod.
Harry will pass the piece of paper on to just pass it along to Wallace.
Okay. And actually, at this, he'll think once he gets it, he'll take the other one that he was given out, unfold it, and hand it to the lady that came in, and she'll go and make copies and give them out to all the dukes. Okay. So ideas of 2 of our special friends. Okay. At this, he turns to David. David? Yes, Harry? Considering what you can do, I'm going to need you to make some investigations. Kind of investigations. You got it. All right. Let me know ASAP what you find out. Can do. All right.
Mr. Wallace, Florian raises his hand.
Mr. Bouchard, it's been a while.
Yes, it has.
You got a thick reverb, by the way, Joey.
Yeah, you do.
Just be aware of it.
Yes, sorry. I'm on my phone, so reverb is bad. I'm sorry.
There's a button up top where you can make it so that it doesn't just come out of your speakers, it just comes out of your headpiece where you normally listen at.
Okay, better?
Considerably.
Yes.
All right. I'd like to let you know that my services in extracting information through less
Yes, understood.
Are offered.
You're permitted to go with David.
All right. At the same time, I'd also like to I can't believe I'm doing this. Make my true heritage known before the Dukes and the rest of the Kindred who are assembled.
Save it. That can be done at the end.
Very well.
Any more details on the fire or the blood bank, which I'm going to have to resupply, which I'm already in the process? Any more details? Hearing none, moving on. We move on to resolutions that have been brought before the court. Beginning with Resolution 10980 regarding the Domain Defense Fund. We will... Yes, Mr. Levatoya?
And at this point, you see he actually has stood and has retrieved a briefcase that was sitting there beside of his chair. He popped it open and he's began walking. Oh, no problem. I just wanted to make you aware that I was going to be passing out copies of everything, so not to interrupt you.
Yes, very well. Yes. Although I do believe copies were provided upon the desks. But if you want to give them extra...
Not of our guests. Not of the non-peerage, I guess, my prince. They were not.
Very well, I'll have to talk to somebody about... Proceed, as he does so.
Again, and again, out of game note, there are copies of the resolutions on the Harpies report page at the very bottom.
At this point, Lucas will slip in from in the back and go stand by Ashford.
Chat for the... I'm looking at the bottom.
Okay. So having most of his security duties dismissed, he's just kind of taken his jacket and covered the sleeping angle kind of beside him that's resting her head on his shoulder and basically looks over at Lucas. Any weapons to declare?
More than a few.
Alright. He kind of gives him a bit of a smile and a nod. You're known to me. I believe you're known to several members here. And just, don't be blowing things up, I think we're alright.
I don't blow things up usually, but a point taken. And he'll look at the acting prince, bow, and offer a slight bow to each of the members of the council before stepping back and leaning against the wall and just listening.
And Wallace will nod as you do, because he overheard. This one is known to us. Now, we'll begin with Domain Defense Fund, and we will go person to person. Yay or nay in support of said fund? Amos.
Yay.
Vote confirmed. He's got his phone up and he's looking at his own phone as he's taking notes. Biltmore Josiah. Yay. Very well. Dannington.
Yeah.
Noted. Duke Day.
Yay.
Noted. Hargrove.
Yay.
Ah. As he actually you see he makes notes, changing something on his phone. Levitolia.
Yay.
Menashe. Yay. Reynolds.
Abstain.
At this, he makes notes again. Odom.
Yay with caveat.
I'm interested. State caveat.
You'll notice that the wording in the signatures that when Mr. Putinaska had offered a $25,000 startup fee, my caveat is that we accept that fee with an additional, a donation rather, not a fee. My caveat is that we accept that donation with equal donation provided by the dukes and duchesses of the state.
So you're suggesting an initial startup. So you're suggesting an initial startup of 25,000 from each.
Yes. Several of the dukes have just kind of looked at each other, sort of nervously.
Harry is just casually shaking background and smiling.
Do we wish to discuss this, members of the council?
All right, so just so you know, as a point of order out of game, just because he makes that caveat doesn't mean everybody has to agree to it.
Right. But yeah, he's talking to everybody. Do we want to discuss this?
No, Darrington says move to revote with caveat.
Second, this is from Marquez.
Okay, out of game. How does that work?
We
Do
just
they
go through them again.
just go back?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
seconded, so we just go back over it.
Yeah, it literally cancels the vote that you just made, and that's a whole new vote. It basically cancels that resolution as written, as it had been initially voted on, and rewrites the resolution to be voted on again.
So just go
So
down the line.
one of us is gonna have to rewrite that. Well,
Yeah,
one of us is.
that's it.
So,
Well,
uh,
yeah, we'll just keep track of it. Actually, for purposes of tracking, what we'll do in the chart is we'll make a note that resolution was that the resolution was caveated and a second vote was taken.
Out of game, I'm fixing to leave the chat for a minute. I'm going to try and see if I can get on the computer inside and run from there.
Okay, copy
Okay.
that. All right, go ahead. Take the vote. I got it.
all right, I'll just do that later. All right, start with people that are still here. With caveat, Dannington.
Yeah.
And Biltmore is still in favor. And Menashe is still in favor. So when Will gets back, we'll see who else
I'm here.
approves or just.
Go ahead, I'm here.
All right.
Oh, okay. Amos, with caveat.
Nay. Nay.
Dannington supports Day.
Yay.
He supports Hargrove.
Nay.
No. This because he's present. Levitolia?
Yay.
Support. All right. Menashe has already said yes. Reynolds, do you wish to still abstain?
Yes.
Very well. Odom, your caveat stands. We will, if you will give me a moment. 1, 2. 2 nay. An overwhelming yay. The defense fund passes. Okay. Making notes. Walt's making notes.
Yeah, same as Will is as well.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Moving on. Resolution 10981 on the issue of independent domain.
Walt, you cut out. Please repeat.
Resolution 10981. Independent domain expansion.
I'll be back in just a minute, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm also going to pull a BRB.
Yeah. All right, take Dannington's vote at the dead last then.
Yep, will do. Okay. Amos.
No.
Sticking with recorded. Biltmore. Yes. Very well. Day.
No.
Staying with dissent. Hargrove.
No.
Noted. Levitolia.
Support.
He takes notes. Menashe. A. Reynolds.
Yes.
Sticking with same. Odom.
Nay.
Very well. And we'll wait till PJ gets back.
What?
Waiting on your vote for the independent domain expansion.
Okay.
Support. Okay. Noted. All right. The 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait a minute. Make sure I didn't. Okay, his is out. His is out. Sorry, Walt's checking notes, making sure that people that aren't allowed. Yeah, people that aren't allowed aren't on there, and math is right. And okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By a simple majority, resolution passes. Moving on. Resolution 11001.2015 on the Monroe and
what?
on the Monroe district creation.
Oh, okay.
The creation of a district around the Monroe area.
Okay.
And the subsequent elevation of to the title of Duke.
Sorry, who you cut out there?
Helms.
Brent. Unfortunately, he could not be here to witness, but he will be informed which way this goes. Amos.
Support.
Noted.
Support.
Noted. Biltmore. Support. Dannington.
Dissent.
Very well. Day.
Yay.
Noted. Hargrove.
No.
Vote. Levitolia.
No.
Noted. Reynolds.
Yay.
Menashe. Still abstaining. Very well. Odom?
Yay.
Noted. A moment to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. 5 to 3. Looks like we need to get Helms in here to discuss things. He looks at all of the Malkies, says, "Go to Monroe, get him here."
Out of character point of information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is just clarification out of character. If we can't get the player playing Monroe here, does that mean that the council can't go, or does it still have quorum?
Well, Helms is an
Guthrie,
NPC.
it's an NPC.
Oh,
It's an
okay. Sorry,
NPC.
I thought.
But,
sorry,
Helms
yeah.
is not
character.
Helms is not
here.
a PC.
Yeah, Helms is
okay.
not current. Yeah, Helms is not present. Though you would know a royal knight can vote in his stead. Problem is the only recognized royal knight is sitting in the prince's chair right this moment.
And he's not allowed right now.
Until Helms's vote is counted, this is basically a locked. This is basically a hung jury, so to speak.
Well, Will, he wasn't on the council. This is a point of note. So he wouldn't vote anyway. And this is about him.
Actually, yeah, he would abstain. He would abstain. He would abstain by what it is.
What Harry is saying is, get him in here. We have an announcement. That's what he's saying.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Who would have abstained?
Helms.
Well, he wouldn't have been allowed to vote.
Right.
Because it's regarding him.
Yeah, and he's not on the council. On top of that. So, yeah, what Harry is saying, we have an announcement for him, and he's saying that to the Malkavians.
Okay.
So, we will send correspondence to Mr. Helms, but if a lot of you, and again he looks at them, at the Malkavians, would let him know that he needs to join us here for a discussion.
Okay.
We will have his ceremony later. Okay, so as those are okay, Will, those are all the resolutions that I'm seeing, right?
Yeah, the one that had been signed by Walsh's name, Walsh denied it. So he technically he withdrew it by denying that he signed it. So that wouldn't get voted on.
Okay.
As a side note, Cynthia nods because just getting back, I was AFK.
Okay. All right, so 23. Alright, just making notes.
Out of character, I'm still on the docket, right?
Yep, yours hasn't come up yet.
No, I just wanted to make sure that it was.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to make sure out of character.
Okay. vote. It's recorded officially. All right. Now, moving on.
Hey, all day. She's been doing it to me all day, even though she has a. She's been clicking her teeth all day, too.
Yeah, well, needs to go look at his stuff here. Where was that?
Okay, sorry about that, Jim. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, Walsh had made, and Florian made one basically on the fly.
Florian made a request on the fly.
Yeah. So basically, he was so in that case, if it was a matter of time, Florian's would get bumped in favor of Walsh's.
Okay. Okay, resolutions. Resolutions complete. Okay.
Out of character, there's a message on the Malky network.
Copy that.
Alright. So, resolutions complete. We open the floor to the general public. It's come to my attention Mr. Walsh had something first, so he will be given time. You may proceed.
Harry tentatively stands up and says, Dukes and Duchesses of the Council, I have a concern that needs to be brought to your attention, but before I do that, I must owe a formal apology to Duke Dannington for our previous conversation. What I did, I attempted to do to protect you, and my reasoning will become clear in a moment when I explain to the Council in general regarding the issue that's come up. In light of the fact that, sorry.
We'll look at him quizzically.
Sorry. Yeah. In light of the fact that there has been recent attacks by a number of different entities, everything from the Seven to an Infernalist Pact to the fact that our own prince was impersonated, I am highly of the concern about the fact that there may be loose ends which may allow our enemies to track us where we sleep. To that end, I am proposing to each of the individual dukes, not as a resolution, but not as a resolution for the council, but for the dukes to take up of their own initiative at their own time, that I may work and be bloodbound to every single one of them to act to provide inventions as necessary and to provide help with getting every single Kindred haven off the grid, so that this way the power companies power bills and electricity flow are not one method where enemies may track us. I wish to propose in this. Walsh is still continuing. I wish to propose in this that there also be a. I wish to propose as well that any technological development happen across multiple different areas, so this way any high technology that's developed may not fall into enemy hands that potentially put dukes or others in danger. As such, Harry points to Ashford. I have also developed another energy project, specifically a very highly advanced and multi-setting Tesla arc, which can take out groups at a single time. I am putting this invention in the hands of the council, as many are as necessary to continue our defense, to continue our ongoing defense against such groups as the Seven, the Infernalists, and any other groups, the Sabbat, and any other groups that may be attempting to infringe upon our territory. This is all at your disposal. I put my services completely at your disposal, and I am offering to be bloodbound to every single one of you to make sure that that at least you know that the technology is properly under your control and can be dealt with as you see fit and distributed as you see fit to be able to protect the state. And Harry says, "I yield my time back to the prince."
So, two things you're offering, yes?
Yes.
Understood. You can get with Walsh at your leisure, and he's looking around at the council when he says this, to get this done. There are a couple of projects in the works from before I was given this chair, and those will continue. but any of you with offers and requests for said technology, do so as you see fit.
Of course, I hope it, out of character, I hope to note somebody that my character was offering to be bloodbound to every single Duke.
Oh, it was noted.
Yeah, just want to make sure.
You see at least Biltmore has an eyebrow raised looking at you.
I'm hoping Will Stukes heard that.
They did actually. Marquez raises paddle after time is given.
And he gets the indication.
I would have but one question. For those of us that have already contracted with Mr. Walsh, and this is directed to you, sir. I know a few of us have. Now this blood bond, was this going to be offered retroactively, or is this for any future contracts?
Stands up again and says, "This blood bond is to be offered now to any Duke who would accept it, both for previous and for future projects, to make sure that I'm kept under control."
Very well. Time is yielded to the chair.
Any more discussion on Mr. Walsh's projects that need to be addressed to the entire council? Very well.
As a side note, out of character, to anyone paying attention in the room for what seems like no reason, but only the Malkavians know.
What was that?
I didn't hear that either.
She said something. She does something that only the Malkavians know.
Okay, so she's looking around frantically around the room, almost kind of like a calmed, panicky look. Like, not quite panicked, but just, like, freaked out. And she's just looking around the room, and nobody knows why but the Malkavians.
And Florian is face palming because of it.
Faye raises an eyebrow, but but at the same time gives a comforting nod to Cynthia, like, "Don't worry, we got this."
She nods back.
And this is Day. This is Day that speaks here. And Mr. Wallace, I know you're new to the chair. There was if the floor remains open, then it would be open to other public audience. That's your approval, of course.
Well, if there's no more discussion on said projects, I do leave it open to other discussions.
And she's also just started... Oh, sorry. You go first. And basically, she's just eyeing the door now.
Dannington looks back at Bashard.
And Harry notices the look, and he looks back there. Ah, right. You made a request previously. Mr. Richard.
Yes. I'd like to inform everyone that previously when I first came to Tarheel, I introduced myself as a member. Hold on. that I was a member of the Cative in general, one of the clans. Truth be told, and due to recent problems, some of my own, some outside of my command, I feel it's probably better and safer now to admit I am not one of the Cative. Instead, I am actually one of the Malkavian clan. And I do have the feeling that because of that, I'm probably also the oldest one here. If you wish to check this to ensure it, the person I would recommend seeing would be the Prince of Paris, and get his information about me. Other than that, that is all I wish to say at this time. And then he goes and sits back down.
Harry looks at Ashford. Mr. Ashford, make a note of the change. Mr. Bouchard is Malkavian.
Noted.
And Harry looks back at Bouchard. See, wasn't that?
Very.
Okay then.
What'd you say, Mishi?
I didn't say anything. I've been muted.
Oh, sorry, I thought I heard you.
That's right. There's some echo with somebody, and I'm having difficulty with what's going on anyway. Would somebody just pop in the chat what just happened, please?
In short, Joey just outed himself as Malcolm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, stay muted.
Yeah, somebody is really echoing bad. I think it's Will, actually.
It is.
Probably is.
So yeah, with Will muted, all he said was all that Bouchard said was that he was not a Caitiff. He is in fact a Malkavian.
Yeah.
And by the way, that was me, not Mishi.
Oh, okay. What would
and
you
he
say?
noted that he's probably one of the oldest in the room of that kind. So, anyway,
As a side note, Faye's now getting a really curious but scared eye from Cynthia, like literally dead staring at her.
Faye glances over at Cynthia and mouths, "If you can hear me, don't worry."
She just nods, still staring at her.
okay.
Faye again. Faye writes out a note and passes it to Cynthia. The note basically says, "If you can hear me on the network, we're good. I'm keeping an eye out for both of us."
Motion to adjourn.
Again, she nods and starts staring at her.
Before you entertain that out of game, Walt.
Yeah.
It would be. Yeah, it was say it would be in keeping to address, the things that the imposter prince had done and whether or not they're going to remain in effect or not.
Right.
Specifically, one regarding Ian.
Yeah. I was about to. Before he made the motion, I was about to. Before that, Mr. Dannington, an issue came up. And Mr. Saint, and he looks around to see if he's in the room.
Mr. Saint is leaning against a wall.
Harry points at you and waves you over.
He'll stand up, straighten out his outfit a bit, and walk over.
Mr. Saint was previously awarded a title by the Imposter Prince Normally that would throw it right out. Considering his effectiveness, I would say it stands. But I will bring this to the council. He was offered the position of sheriff.
Dannington's
What say
paddle
you?
raises.
Mr. Dannington?
If I am correct, he is an independent, and this is a Camarilla title, and members who are not part of the Camarilla cannot partake in positions.
A good point. Mr. Saint. Oh, you raised your hand before he said something?
Yeah, well, honestly,
Josh?
raises his hand and wait to be recognized.
Mr. Ashford?
It is well known to me and Duke Menashe personally that Mr. Saint has every intention of joining the Camarilla based on certain agreements reached prior. However, they may need to be under review given that this agreement was reached with another individual.
Dannington will raise his paddle again.
Yes, Dannington.
Intent is all well and good, and I actually think that Lucas is effective, and I don't have a concern with him. However, being an independent, he is not beholden to standing, has no repercussions if he does not follow people's status, has no repercussions if he does not follow our ways. While intent is all well and good, I cannot imagine that a formal position could be given to someone who is not within the whims of the sect.
Mr. Saint would actually hold up his hand at that.
And you would get pointed at?
Lucas will step forward and reach into his pocket, take out a silk handkerchief, and lay it at the feet of the acting prince. Reach into the other side of his jacket and pull out what looks like a very ceremonial knife. And hold it and cut his palm. And then step back. Intent served. And then he'd kneel to the prince.
Out of character, point of order, was a blood oath just sworn?
I think it was.
He just swore his blood to the Camarilla.
That's very awesome. Okay. Yes, that's a definite harping note right there.
Okay, I gotta make a willpower test.
Oh, yep.
Faye is kind of watching with interest what's going on because she hasn't actually seen this, but she has not ever actually seen this done. So she's rather impressed and amazed that this just happened.
So you fail.
Yeah. Okay, this is actually this. Oh, sorry.
As you walk past, as you walk up to try to do, because I know what you're doing. David steps over and puts a hand on you. No.
Well, regardless, before David gets over there, he's sitting with his Duke, and his Duke will sit him down.
Okay. Yeah.
So basically, David got up to do it, but Woody beat him to it.
But Woody was like, "Nope, sit down." Okay. You swear your own life to the Camarilla, yes?
That is the intent of the action I just took, but to be a direct answer, yes.
Harry will reach down, pick up the handkerchief. Let it be noted to all councilmen, we have a new member
Dannington
of the
raises his
Camarilla.
paddle.
Yes, Dannington?
And who takes responsibility for his accounting should he err?
I volunteer to if necessary.
And you will suffer his fate should he err.
Who have deceit your affairs, Saint?
I'm sorry, I missed that. Correct up.
He asked because
Who-
one of the tenets of the Camarilla
who
is
sponsored
the
you?
accounting. Is the accounting, because whoever says that they take responsibility for your accounting takes for your first 10 years or whatever of your being in the Camarilla, they take responsibility for you, and if you fuck up, they get fucked up too.
Well, first his first look is over to David, as you know, Walt knows why. Particular sheet thing.
Yeah, I know why.
His look is not a, but to note, his look is not a do this or else or anything. It's a what do you think look. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. David straightens up. He lives in my district. If he screws up, I'll kill him myself.
And Dannington's paddle goes up. Well, I don't guess it goes up because it's still technically my time, but Dannington will say then, and you can confirm that he knows all of the rules of our sect.
If there are gaps, I'll teach him.
If one is a member of the Camarilla, they should already know this. However, given the state of our state and the necessity for having a combative individual, this bothers me less. So then I pose a question to the rest of the council. Are you agreeing of a fledgling being the sheriff of this domain? I yield back to the chair.
What say you? All of you. This
Day's
is
paddle goes up.
Day.
In the interest of domain security, I would move that he be granted the title of sheriff with the caveat that he be closely watched, that his actions be directly regulated by this council, and that he speak with this council on a monthly basis to check in. And I will yield to the chair.
Dannington's paddle goes up again.
And you get nodded at.
I would like to remind the council that specifically the position of sheriff is the enforcement of Camarilla laws and regulations. So if he does not know, we are putting someone with an incomplete knowledge of Camarilla law and regulations in that position.
Lucas would raise his hand.
Dannington will yield to Lucas.
Ask a question.
What is the fifth edict of the Camarilla?
Okay, can I get a mental roll on that?
Do you have a Camler?
No.
Okay. So you can't roll lords you don't have.
Oh, well then. I wouldn't even. Ian knows, but I guess never mind then. I wouldn't have even asked that question then.
Oh,
Right.
Never mind.
so he wouldn't ask. He wouldn't say to test him.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
I think he is effective. I think that he is a fledgling in our sect, and I think that he would make a very good hound to a sheriff who knows our laws. But one can simply not be the sheriff without an intimate knowledge of what our laws are and what the individual rules of each domain are.
Can I say something out of character?
Out of character, sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
She basically gets up and has a note on her paper, and as she walks by Florian, she drops it, and it basically says, "Meet me out in the few."
Okay. So, in response, go ahead. If Marquez paddle go up, Dannington will yield to Marquez.
I will move that Mr. Saint be taken under the squireship of an existing royal or ducal knight, until such time as that knight would see fit that he could be released from this fledgling status. And at that time, we would revisit the possibility of him being placed into the sheriff's position.
Dannington's paddle would go up again.
Dannington?
Menashe has already accepted to be his accounter. The person, and since he is under Menashe's accounting, his education falls to Menash in whatever way he sees fit, not whatever way that we see fit. So this is completely under David's purview, and not something that we as the council can direct.
And David clears his throat and raises his hand.
Yield to David.
Yes, please, Mr. Menashe. Oh, okay. Yes, please, Mr. Menashe.
Yes, please.
I will teach him of our laws. I will take on his accounting. I will deal with him myself should he slip. I will take him under my wing. For now, you are not granted any title. But you know the relationship now. If you are in agreement with this, and he extends his hand, shake. And he extends it to Saint. Ian.
He's muted.
He's got the one finger up. He's doing something.
Yes, he'll shake. Sorry, I forgot I was muted because of my background CD.
Okay, all right. He'll shake the hand. Very well. He will be under my tutelage for the next while. When he is ready, have a seat, Mr. Saint.
Dannington will raise his paddle.
Yes, Mr. Dannington. This is Harry.
Since this is the time for announcements, I would also announce that I will be accepting applications for a pupil to educate in the ways of finding and destroying the infernalists. Should at some point I die or leave the domain, there will be someone to carry on in what I do. I say you may approach me after the meeting. And he lowers his bell.
Yeah. Okay.
Noted. Any other announcements?
Andy and Marquez's paddles go up at practically the exact same time.
He looks at both of them. Who wishes to speak first?
Marquez, I believe Andy may have been thinking about the same thing I was. Go ahead. Andy nods. Again, since we are on the subject of announcements, Mr. Levitelli and I have been making some inroads into a facility within the Foothills domain, and we are prepared to extend that facility into other districts as dukes and duchesses would request it. But a facility dedicated to the training of certain martial disciplines, as well as a safe location for the exchange of kindred powers, I guess is the best way to say it. And time to the chair.
Interesting. Anyone else?
I raise my paddle again.
Okay, all right. Dannington?
I will suggest that by next time we all have someone in mind for the other positions in the Camarilla. This domain should have keepers as well as a sheriff or sheriffs, and should have seneschals just for such an occasion. While the knight does fill the role of voting for the prince, I believe that holding our domain to a stronger semblance of what the Camarilla does would be better for us all. So please, look at yourselves, look at your districts, but positions should be filled. I believe I give my time back to the chair.
Yes, well, the dukes and duchesses of this state are free to choose sheriffs of their district, keepers of their district, knight will be in addition to any official Camarilla titles, as it was intended. You're free to choose who you will, but let this court and Mr. Ashford know when you have selected these titles. Anything further?
Hartgrove, move to dismiss.
Second.
Motion seconded. This council is dismissed. And at this, Harry rolls his shoulders, stretching. Okay. Now, Woody,
Okay, it looks around.
I want you to talk to her. Okay?
Hey, what
At
else?
this, you see her walking up, chatting with the people she knows, and looking at the hands of the people that were marked before, and checking that they're still marked. I think the only other one is Ashford.
Yeah.
No. Ian has
Oh,
the mark
and
on his
Saint.
hand.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Saint. Right. Okay.
Lucas will show his mark.
Okay.
As a side note, Cynthia comes back and sits by Walsh again.
First, Pennington will approach Day and ask him if he accepts his challenge to a fight to the death.
Day simply nods as if to bring the conversation to somewhere more private.
Okay, he does.
All he does is just walk to a corner of the room.
Sure. Deity goes over.
It is
He
entirely
says,
up to you whether you would wish to maintain this challenge. Security. I would highly, highly ask that you delay this if it is your intention to follow through.
why?
We have the seven that walks out. We have the seven walking through our state right now. We have imposter princess, among other things. We don't know what's coming. We don't know what's coming behind this. At this point, my belief is that we should marshal forces rather than keeping a dissension between the ranks that we do have.
Just kind of quietly waiting for this little conversation to come to a close. Ashford is just sort of slowly approaching Woodrow, kind of hesitantly, because, he's never quite sure where Woody's going to land.
What's a...
Oh, go ahead, Cynthia.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, what's a Auspex 4?
Let's
It's
see.
telepathy. You can break into people's minds.
Well, I know I
I
meant
think she's
dice.
getting the
What the roll
for
is.
it.
It's perception something, I know.
I think it's perception
Hang
empathy.
on, I got the rule book. I just gotta do a search real quick.
Yeah, I'm almost sure it's perception. Almost sure it's perception.
I know it's either alertness or awareness. I just don't know which one.
Oh, maybe.
Telepathy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not a regular spot check, Jess. Yeah. I think PJ got it right.
Let me see. It is the player rolls intelligence, subterfuge. Oh, hold on. The
Subterfuge and then
difficulty
to
of the
project
target's
requires
current
1.
willpower.
Yeah. Target's current willpower. Yeah.
Okay, so can somebody roll me 6 dice, please?
Okay, glad to do it.
Actually, hold on. Who are you targeting first?
Yeah.
Walsh.
Okay, Walsh, what's your willpower?
Sorry, Gaff.
Sorry, to illustrate, I rolled 6 dice. My willpower is double checking.
No, it's
Where am I?
not a willpower roll. It's an active. It's what her target number is. Your
No,
willpower.
I know. That's what I'm looking for. My willpower is 9.
That does not beat a 9 willpower.
So you get stonewalled.
Dang it.
Okay, now, let's see here. I think you can make a perception awareness roll. Difficulty equal to her manipulation subterfuge. To know that was used.
Okay, perception, awareness, and difficulty. So does that mean 6? Does that mean difficulty 6 or equal
No,
to
it's
a number of
whatever her
successes?
manipulation
It's
subterfuge is.
it's the total of what her die pool is for that.
What is
That
your
should
manipulation
So
subterfuge?
difficulty 6, because she rolled 6 dice.
Well, no, it was her intelligence. She rolled her intelligence subterfuge.
Oh,
now
right.
she is dictating what her manipulation subterfuge is. So.
What's your
Marie,
manipulation
what's
subterfuge?
Manipulation?
What's your manipulation subterfuge?
Okay. That would be 4.
So it is diff 4.
So
Yeah, it should be obvious, but make it roll.
Your perception
one
awareness.
of them. Yeah, I got 2 successes.
So you know she tried to telepathy you on Elysium, which is a breach of Elysium powers.
Yeah, Harry turns to her and raises an eyebrow.
She basically goes, I had to check something.
Harry says, Harry whispers, and I'm not sure if I can actually whisper and anybody wants to roll perception alertness for this. If you want to check something with me, ask me after Elysium. And you can hear a little bit of a grit in his voice.
Alright. Gonna go ahead and make that roll. Yeah.
I'm not. While he's rolling that, Dannington will say today, we always seem in opposition. So I thought it would just be more efficient for the council if one of us was dead. But I suppose I can spare your life.
What were the successes on the perception?
I botched my perception alertness.
No, you still got a success. That's a failure, not a botch.
Yeah, it's a fail, not a
I
botch.
got more ones than I got successes. So isn't that, or is it no success? Okay.
Botch is absolutely no success.
Yeah, I got one success. So yeah.
Can I roll that at a higher difficulty? Because I've actually been watching Cynthia because of stuff that went down on the Madness Network.
That is a Walt call.
Let's see. What was the? Roll it again. Just roll it again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that was better. My 10 was neutralized, but other than that, I got 2 successes.
Yeah, you heard it.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna come over and to Cynthia and Walsh and I'm gonna say, Cynthia, I told you to wait, and then to Walsh I'm gonna say, I told Cynthia not trust anybody that she either couldn't hear on the Madness Network or couldn't verify via Auspex was who they say they are.
Literally, of the walls if I hear this or not. But, yeah, I had one success on the hearing check to do that.
Do what? What was that last part?
Yeah, I had one success on the hearing check to, overhear the conversation.
You get bits and pieces, not enough to
Yeah. So
quite understand.
basically, Ashford will kind of swerve from his initial destination and just kind of whisper to her.
As a
I,
side note, oh, sorry, Ashford.
yeah, he'll basically just kind of, with this very almost like overwrought sigh of complete exasperation, just
She bas- she basically looks back at Harry and just kind of goes, "I thought it was over."
just literally, Ashford is sitting there with this almost human look of this person has absolutely no sense about them whatsoever, and he literally uses potence to basically haul her out of the building.
I thought you weren't anywhere near her.
No, he's basically swerved from where he was going, and since he's gotten bits and pieces, he's just literally towing her out of the building to figure out what the hell went on.
Yeah, as a note
And
to
they
Florian,
Josh, hold on. As you go to grab her, you feel a hand on your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
He whispers in your ear, "Don't. It's still Elysium. That was a violent act."
Mm. Uh, he basically has to like face palm for a second, realizing that this is honestly true, and he just kind of has this intense, exasperated look. You
You know,
have
sorry, given the fact that my character does have personal feelings for Cynthia, but also considering how he was raised, to basically not only believe in philosophy but uphold the Camarilla law, what would I roll to decide whether or not my character reveals this breach of Elysium?
It's actually just super subjective. Like, there's no role for it.
You just
yeah,
decide which way you want to go with it.
yeah.
While you're deciding that, Will, did you hear that I told Day that I would I would kill? I had considered killing him because we always voted in opposition, and it made things more difficult for the council. But seeing as the current issues, he will allow Day to live for now, and then offered to move out of the way to let him walk away.
Yeah, I didn't catch all of that, but he as you offer, he actually he puts his hand goes to his chin for a second, and it returns into the air, one finger in the air. You are correct. We do tend to vote in opposition on a particularly regular basis. But what if we were to shake up this council and vote in alliance?
I am unsure if your views and my views will coincide enough for us to be able to do that.
I have no problem. I have no problem with compromise, but unfortunately, it appears that this council is so quick to vote that little discussion ever occurs on anything.
Dannington will look at him hard for a second, and he says, "Fine," and he will extend his hand to him.
He takes it. You see, he leans in almost as if to your ear, and you can hear him whispering something.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell anyone this, but you, of all people, need to know because you represent a very strong voting presence on this council. But there are rumors of a coup on the prince's chair.
He'll nod slightly and just say, "Who?"
You see his eyes cut towards Reynolds.
Is this why she brought Helms on?
He nods.
Dannington, while he's so close, will kind of he'll just genuinely give him a one-armed embrace while they're so close and says, you have bought your life and my loyalty in this alliance.
He nods.
Okay.
While all of this is going on, now that the whole issue has been dealt with Cynthia, Harry briefly grabs back the backpack that he got from Nathaniel, and stands about a good 15 feet away from Day and Dannington, so as not to be in the range where he can hear anything, because he's waiting for Dannington to finish.
Yeah, I think we finished.
Okay.
Yeah.
As
they pretty much discussion.
Does Dannington turn to in a direction that faces Walsh?
I guess, yeah.
Walsh goes to one knee and offers up the pack. With the device to Duke Dannington.
Now, also keep in mind, Walsh, as a point of remembrance, you also offered something similar to the entire council. So
yes,
is this a different thing?
It will be going to the entire council, but it will go to the entire council. But Duke Dannington has right of first refusal.
This is true. He does.
He walks up to Walsh. What did you think that I needed your protection from?
In light of the fact that the Seven had hacked my email, I was afraid they had traced me back to my lab. And given the fact that the Infernalists last Christmas got my quantum computer and nearly had a demon that would have been able to destroy all of our security, I was afraid that by accepting your position, that by accepting a domain solely in your district, that if I got caught and fell into the wrong hands, a trap might be set for you, using my own technology against you. I did not want this to happen, so I was doing my best to protect you. I'm sorry if I erred in doing so, but please accept this gift, and whatever you decide is whatever you decide.
If there was an Infernalist following you, I would want that Infernalist to be in my domain so I don't have to go as far to kill it. And the reason I offered you to stay in my domain solely is because if the Seven attacked you, I wanted to be able to save your life. However, he will look over to Faye. Your allies and yourself do not trust me. You think I have nefarious intent.
Walsh responds, if you have auspex, you can read me and verify that I trust you implicitly.
Dannington is staring at you for like a good hard minute. His body doesn't move, doesn't twitch. It's very unnatural because he's on a path, and so he doesn't mimic those human things. He just stares at you.
Do you wish to roll anything to verify whether Walsh is telling the truth?
No. He just is staring at you, coming to his own conclusions.
All right.
Well, more like staring through you, probably.
Hmm? Fine, Walsh. What do you want?
I simply wish that while I work for you, there be one backup lab somewhere, so that if, God forbid, the unthinkable happens and both you and I fell, the technology might still be protected for the good of the state. That's my only request.
Fine.
Is that audible?
Yeah, we're not whispering.
Then Lucas would step over and stay quiet, but close enough that it's obvious that he's looking for a moment of to respond to that.
Okay, well, you can respond. Like, I say yes to him.
He looks at the two of them. I can provide a safe place for a secondary location if needed. That is safe.
I know that your counter, Menashe, has also offered a position for Harry. I will leave the details to you, Harry. My offer stands as it was before. The efficiency with which you dispatched the 7 is the sign-on bonus that you will get for your pay. So, work hard if you want more money.
Harry nods and says, do you wish to take this in your future endeavors for dealing with the Infernalists? It is the first one, and it is perfected.
Dannington shakes his head. For the Infernalists, I prefer to use my own hands. I found nothing to be as efficient a killing tool as me. I am Gangrel, it's what I do. But thank you.
Harry nods and waits, still kneeling, until Duke Dannington gives him permission to rise.
He will motion for him to rise, and he says that I will not be accepting to blood bond you. I want you to stay working for me as long as you will, not beholden by a blood bond. I do not care for the practice of binding people with blood and fake feelings of love and morality. It is not my way.
Harry nods.
Go ahead.
When Dennington is speaking of his hands and being Gangrel, Lucas has a slight smirk on his face, but it is not a smirk of amusement. It is a smirk of actual admiration. He actually admires Dannington.
Dannington will give a slight nod to Lucas.
There's nothing derogatory about it.
Yeah. Dannington will nod to Lucas and then move to Faye.
As Dannington takes his exit, though, Marquez is seen approaching Mr. Walsh. But we'll cover the facing first.
Okay. Do you wish to air any grievances with me, Faye?
I don't have any grievances with anybody in this room. All I'm going to say is that as far as trusting anybody, I don't. Nobody. Not as long as the 7 and the Infernalists are in this state. And especially not after hearing that the Prince has been an imposter for these past months. Anybody that I can't hear or can't read through aspects is suspect. And even then, you've known since the day I arrived in this state that I don't trust anybody.
I don't care that you trust me. I don't care that you trust me. I just merely wanted to allow you the opportunity to air grievances.
Because of that.
I think we misunderstood each other the night that you were scrying on me and Walsh. I was attempting to caution Mr. Walsh against making decisions in haste. It isn't smart right now to have everybody knowing where all of our potential havens may be. Domains is one thing, havens is another. We're not safe right now, and you know it.
I offered him a public domain where we operate on campus, but I am building another facility altogether that would have given him a place to work in secrecy. But I don't suppose he told you that.
Actually, my character wasn't aware of that.
I told you we were building a whole new place that you would get to design and make.
Yeah,
Oh,
he did.
crap.
He
I'm
did,
sorry.
yeah, man.
That was... Walsh remembered that? I didn't. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, so I'm just
It's
gonna.
okay. Walter does that
So
too.
I'm just gonna say. No, I wasn't aware of that. The only thing I thought was that it seemed from what I knew that the decision was being made too hastily. I advised caution, not outright refusal. It seems that in the excitement, if you will, that various things were misunderstood on all parties' parts.
By the way, Ashford will essentially approach Dannington and just kind of wait to be recognized for a moment.
As long as you have been given the opportunity to air any problems with me, I suppose, not having any, I will leave you to your evening.
Sorry, I didn't hear that very well. Very well.
Oh, okay. He says, now that I've given you the opportunity to air any problems, and seeing that you don't have any, he will leave you to the rest of your evening.
My Duke, if I'm able to, before you leave, I will check with the Prince, and if it is fine by him, I plan on taking my leave in the nearby future. I'm planning on making a trip up to Chicago for a couple of weeks. During that time, I'm going to try and see if I can get in touch with a gentleman I knew only by name. I'm going to try and see if I can call him down here and potentially assist in any way our current problems. I don't know of how much help he will be. I do warn that he may ask to trade you if he finds out about a couple of your abilities. I give you fair warning there. Other than that, if everyone will excuse me, I'm going to go prep for that. So
He will not.
So,
and then he will turn to Ashford, who is there.
Let's handle the Marquez thing out of the way here real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, reach closer and honestly speak very, very softly. I may have idealistic differences, but I believe we need to speak at another time. There are things I may know about your current target which might be useful to you, and as to the possible apprenticeship, let's just say I have a grudge that I wasn't exactly willing to dispose right off.
Right, and with that, we'll come right back to that after we do the Marquez. See what Marquez wanted with Mr. Walsh here.
This is what I was. And this is about the
Marquez. He has approached you and has actually extended an arm to put an arm around you, kind of ushering you to a more private area of the room.
Lucas would head over to talk to David in whispers, hopefully with the acting prince nearby to talk as well, and Ashford if he's nearby. But
So, what happens to Walsh from Marquez? Is this going to go the way I think it does?
You mentioned. I kind of overheard what Mr. Dennington was saying that he required no blood bond for your services.
However,
on the other hand, Mr. Dennington doesn't always think before he leaps. So that being said, you see, he literally places his wrist out in front of you.
before Walsh drinks, he looks up directly at Marquez and says, "My intention behind presenting this was to make sure that my services would be used by every Duke and not used against other Dukes. Am I about to be used against another Duke?" He's not refusing, he just wants to clarify where he's going with this.
I need someone to roll me 8 dice, please.
Will do.
On it.
Do I get to roll against this?
Or should I get it?
I don't know. Let me see how the roll goes to determine whether or not you'll get a hint. If you do, you can roll it.
You got 4 successes.
What were those numbers? What were the die numbers on dice?
7799.
Glad it wasn't my roll, then it would have been worse.
You're not 100% sure that he's telling the truth, Guthrie, but this is Marquez, who has a bad habit of weaving lies into the truth, and vice versa.
Okay. So what exactly are what's his exact wording?
We'll know when the time comes.
Oh boy. Walsh says, "Well, I can't go back on my word," and with that proceeds to drink from Marquez's wrist.
I need a single D10 from you, and I need a single D10.
Got it.
Okay, rolling D10 from me, 2.
Boink. And shit, Will.
You botch, Will. Botchmania.
Just doesn't, Marquez just doesn't care.
Yeah, that wasn't what that roll was for. That was what that is. The way that we do bonds here is basically we just use the dice roll as a measure of how to role play the bond appropriately. Marquez could quite honestly give 2 shits about you, and you really don't care that much more about Marquez because of the bond.
Well, that's more like Vinculum, because blood bonds. Yep. You don't have.
Well, yeah,
blood bond. You don't care about
it.
It's just a role play hint, basically.
So basically,
it's just here's an idea.
And with the two of us not really caring that much about each other, I won't be necessarily required to obey everything he says.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right, that works.
You mostly have free will.
Yeah, and with that in mind, Walsh goes, "Well, I did offer. C'est la vie." Well, he's not saying that out loud. He's thinking that. It's just like, but if Marquez can read his mind,
as he returns his wrist, cleaning the blood away with a handkerchief he had in his pocket. Now, did you we never did get a chance to sit down and talk out the particulars on those blueprints that I gave you a copy of. What's there from?
Yeah, about that. Harry, briefly, I'm going to roll intelligence specialty to transfer a couple of to Marquez's phone because he digitized the blueprints at an earlier point. And okay, one of those. Okay, the 9 got neutralized, but that's still 1, 2, 3, 4 successes to send a detailed scale blueprints to Marquez.
Okay.
I think I can
Hearing
shave
the
the
phone
cost
go
down.
off. Yeah, hearing the phone go off, Marquez, takes the phone and takes a look at it.
You also notice that there's a shave off of about $1,000 on that contract. Because one of the elements is that Harry's working with the enhanced batteries, which he can build at par.
I'd always like to see a reduction in cost. As long as this reduction in cost isn't going to mean a reduction in quality.
No, not in this case.
All right.
I'll get to it as soon as like I said. Yeah, Harry says I'll get to it as soon as once Elysium's done starting tomorrow, I'll swing by and get started on it for the club.
All right, sounds like a plan.
If Walsh is... Oh, okay.
Dannington will tell Ashford that apprenticeship is something that he can definitely discuss, and whenever he gets time, he's willing to look at the information he has.
Mm-hmm. So you were saying Cynthia was about to say something? Or do something?
Yeah. If Walsh is done, Cynthia will go up to her and just kind of whisper in his ear, "What do I owe ya?"
Harry says, considering that I didn't reveal a breach of that. Considering that I didn't reveal a breach of the a breach of Elysium, which is a violation of tradition. Out of character. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. A breach of Elysium is a violation of tradition, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Just want to make sure. Sorry. So Harry will say, considering that your life is on the line right now, let me try this in a slightly different way. I would normally, and Harry's whispering all this, by the way, I would normally be declaring a life boon for this, but I don't want to create a power differential. So let's try this in another way. And Harry gets down on one knee.
Should I roll a perception?
Yes, you can.
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious.
Everybody turns.
Yep. And Harry says, "Tell you what."
Oh, it's my specialty of Silent Watcher. That's 3 successes. I not only see, but I am over there.
Yep. Harry basically says, will you pledge your life to me?" That's the exact wording he uses.
They kind of sulks in disappointment.
Harry, why is she sulking disappointment?
This is not quite what she was expecting.
Oh.
Yeah. She thought she was about to be a bridesmaid.
That's exactly it. When Harry says, "Will you pledge your life to me?" that's why he's down on one knee.
As a side note, she basically spends a point of blood to blush and just kind of smiles. Well, this is not what I was expecting, but yes.
Harry basically says, "Then I will pledge my life to you."
Ashford will distinctly look at Marquez and Andy like this shrug in utter disgust.
Faye perks up and throws her arms around Cynthia's shoulders. I get to be the maid of honor!
Dannington walks up to Menashe.
Alright, you know what? We both know whenever I'm talking for each one, so
Sonic.
Oh. Yes, Dannington.
Do you wish to air any grievances with me while I'm here?
Not particularly, but I did have something. Reaches in a pocket and pulls out a gem, and it's a pendant. You can see all sorts of symbols on it, etched into it. You know, what looks like a P with an X through it, and on the other side is a celestial chorus symbol, and you should see that both of those particular symbols and none of the others are glowing. A gift from Miss Johnson. She asked me to give it to you. It's your way. Get your hands dirty. And he hands it to you.
Okay, he'll put it in his pocket.
Essentially, Ashford will look at Saint and then just move close to him. When we're done here, I need to get out and train. I believe your family has a lot of martial skill in close quarters combat.
Sorry, who are you talking to?
Saint.
Mm-hmm. He's
Sorry, me?
basically. Yeah.
Yes, so we have a few ways of combat.
He'll just kind of honestly give him a very warm and genuine smile. That you pulled back there took a lot of balls, and honestly, if I'm going to get back into form with my knife fighting and sword fighting skills, I would like to fight someone as crazy as me. So he honestly just shakes Saint's hand, like honestly, really proud of him this one because that was a ballsy freaking maneuver.
Well, it would diminish the domain if you were punished for performing violence on Elysium. As far as I remember the rules of Elysium, I might not be quite up to date on all my rules of Camarilla.
Oh, he specifically said whenever they were done there. He specifically just said whenever they were done here. He didn't say in the building.
848.
Also, to anyone who's listening, especially Ashford, this was supposed to be in the Malky Madness Network, but she literally got so excited she vocalized things, so that means her willpower's roll was broken. And she basically goes, actually, yes, I would love Faye as a maid of honor, and Ashford can be a bridesmaid.
Oh, God.
And Lucas loses it. He just cracks up laughing.
Good in a dress.
Just so you know, Ashford needs to roll self-control because that's public humiliation.
Yeah, literally. That's just, yeah.
Public humiliation is diff 9 to not frenzy.
Yeah, gonna be spending willpower in this.
Lucas
idea.
So hard.
While he's doing that,
and still,
2 successes.
Power.
Cynthia's just messing up everything tonight.
You're fine.
Literally.
Oh, shit. Do you just tell me that Ashford just frenzies?
Oh no, he got 2 successes. He's fine. He's perfectly fine.
Okay, Lucas kind of creeps his way over to Faye and leans over and whispers into her ear. Ashford can do that, but only if I get to choose the color of his dress.
Faye starts at the unexpected voice over her shoulder and turns around and says, "Okay, but I'm just suggesting that that some shade of emerald green would probably be best."
We'll talk.
To Menashe, Dannington says, Walsh and Palmer have made amends for me for the miscommunication. So I would appreciate you not disparaging me to other people.
I don't have a vote
any longer.
Wouldn't think of it.
31 stepping at a moment. Car 40 to Delta.
At this, he actually will, like at the prince's office before, he'll hold out his arms. In other words, manly bearhood time. If you're up for it.
Dannington looks at him for a really almost probably like a minute 30 seconds, but then he'll embrace Menashe.
And
He
just
will.
all right.
But while they're close, he says, "You're coming with me. We're gonna go take out Reynolds. She wants to depose the prince." He whispers that in his ear while they're hugging.
Oh yeah, it's a
Wow.
fae.
Ton of bricks.
Tonight.
All over the place. All these.
Faye obviously doesn't hear anything that's going on, but she remarked to Cynthia, "There's been a lot of hugging tonight."
Oh yeah, it's a fae on the Madness Network. You basically see that flower just spastically hitting everything.
And on the Madness Network, the purple butterfly is trying to get the flower back under control.
On the Madness Network, familiar female voice. I feel him. And then it goes away.
So you know, Will,
I feel him.
I'm declaring intent. If you have time for the scene, Menashe and Dannington are gonna go to Reynolds' house and fuck her up real bad.
But he says back. He says back.
And not right now, because that scene's gonna be take a little bit of time.
Oh yeah, no. That's what I said. I'm just telling you, I'm declaring intent.
Okay.
Yeah,
David
says back. Who told you?
He says Day. She trusted him.
Understood. I'll do my own digging and see if I can come up with more evidence.
While this is happening, after Harry has done this thing with Cynthia, he texts both Dannington and Red Owl receive a text. Just to clarify, is it okay if I have if I have working at both universities? I do not want any bad blood between any of us. And it's just a private text to Dannington and David.
Is it a group text?
In
other words, we both know that the other got it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a group text just to you two.
Mine says, "I don't care, but I want you to live in my domain so I can protect you."
And mine is there just in case. And it is sent to both.
Yep.
All right. All right. Well, then in that case, Harry sends the text with, Harry sends the text. I'll start moving my stuff. To your. This one just goes direct. Well, it's still in the group text, but Dannington will get it anyway. Then I will start moving my stuff to Dannington's domain forthwith.
So Ashford will again find Saint.
A voice comes over your shoulder. Careful, keep a position.
Sorry, was that voice coming over Walsh's shoulder?
Face.
Oh, face.
Face.
I don't know if we.
Sorry, what happened?
Marquez was asking you if you want to be keeper.
Careful, keep up.
I can only hear one person at a time.
Careful, keep up position. Careful, keep up position.
I can't hear you at all, Will.
Careful, keep up.
Can you just put it in the chat? I don't want to.
All right.
Marquez was just offering to make you keeper. That's it.
Sorry, keeper of Elysium?
Yes.
Yes. For his domain.
Is that okay if I'm already Ms. Amos's knight?
So, resolution passed tonight that lets it happen. A resolution passed tonight that lets it happen.
Okay. Okay.
essentially.
I think I can do that. Yeah.
Yep.
She asked
Faye
me
is
to.
obviously a little bit uncomfortable because she remembers because she's very aware of the fact that while while Andy promised to keep Marquez in line over the phone, Marquez was like, I am not gonna behave myself. It's too fun to mess with her. So she's just kind of like,
She also
okay,
said to
I'll
tell
do
you.
this. But
Yeah, Andy also said to tell you that she prepared to take you on for keeper for foothills too.
pardon?
Andy said to tell you that she's prepared to take you on as keeper of her district as well.
Okay.
Keep all the things.
Okay. Yeah. It's gonna be a lot of work, but okay. I think I can do it.
All right. So, given the weird atmosphere of the night, basically, Ashford is looking at the sleeping Gangle covered by his jacket and literally looks over at David. Unless I'm going to be needed for something else, I suppose I should be making my rounds out.
You are.
Before the scene ends, one more thing. Harry Wallace and Duke Dannington receive a text. Duke Dannington was just bi-copied, so this way he could verify. Just this way he got the verification. Wallace gets a text from Walsh which says, I need to find out the negotiating rates on moving on a few moving trucks because of the fact that I'm going to be moving to East Carolina University.
You see, he pulls up his phone. He looks up at you. You know, but he walks over. We can discuss that. For special family, and he air quotes, for Kindred, rates are pretty cheap. You could probably afford them. I'll have to think who's going over there next. Where will you need to be taking stuff from?
My lab at NC State University. I'm going to be officially putting the paperwork through to transfer the remainder of my doctoral thesis to East Carolina as well.
State to ECU, that's not bad. Okay. I'll figure out somebody who's going that way. I'll get you on for fairly cheap.
All right.
As a
I'll get
side
the numbers
note,
later.
oh, okay. Sorry.
What you were saying?
Okay, Cynthia to Walsh. Walsh, she basically looks up. It's like, wait, I don't exactly have a home to call my own.
Harry said,
At this, Ashford will actually conveniently point out, I gave you a house.
Yeah, but I'm bored there. I don't actually claim that one.
Without thinking about what she's about to say, Faye glances over her shoulder at Cynthia and says, "It won't be too boring once you've got two of you living there."
Harry
then
says,
blushes when she realizes just what came out of her mouth.
Harry says, I can't, because of the fact that he's heard all this publicly, Harry says, I can't live, Harry says, if Cynthia's going to be staying with me, we can't live there. I gave my word I would be living in Duke Dannington's district.
I forgot about that.
Harry says, Cynthia, we'll be moving to a new location after East Carolina University, but for now we'll be staying at East Carolina temporarily. We'll be staying in East Carolina temporarily, though. Only our new benefactor knows exactly at the university where I'll be, and then we'll be moving to a secret location at a later time.
She nods. Wait, I'm coming with you?
We just pledged to each other. Of course you're coming with me.
Cynthia.
Again, you suddenly see that flower being sporastic again and hitting everything, including the butterfly.
Ugh.
And on the Madness Network, you
Bing,
literally
bing,
see,
bing.
no, on the Madness Network, you literally see what looks like a steam train derail and go off into a valley.
First thing out of Faye's mouth. Oops, I think I upset Bobby.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
And Harry says, actually, you know what? I'm gonna pull something a little unusual, but this is Harry's style since it's spur of the moment. Harry says, you know what? While we're on the subject, Faye, you can relay. You guys have a special connection of some description, right?
You could say that.
Could you relay to that over Bobby? He's welcome at our place anytime. He's welcome at our place anytime.
Faye relays the message, and it comes out a little bit more suggestive than it should because it's the Madness Network. It comes out more of, it's okay, Bobby. Walsh said you can join him and Cynthia at any time.
As a side note, Cynthia starts laughing.
Yeah. And with that, we actually bring this evening's entertainment to a close.